right now, my friends, I'm kind of feeling a bit dejected. I kind of feel a bit uninspired right now. I think after that defeat to Real Madrid in the first leg, reality is kicked in very hard right now. But I think this season's over now. I think there is nothing left to play for. And I'm kind of curious to see how Lampard is going to, bring some motivation back into the team right now, when realistically, the only thing that they have left to fight for is potentially avoiding relegation. I think with how the season's going, we're definitely not that good to definitely be avoiding any relegation battles, knowing that as the season comes to an end, most of our games are against top 10 opposition, with Brighton being the first challengers in the top 10 that we're playing against in tomorrow's game. And my thing is that even though we do good things like defend well as a team at times, build up good midfields, win tackles, we can find the ball in dangerous positions in the opposition's half. But ultimately, the things that cost us in every game, individual mistakes, that can come from anyone just like that. And the complexion of the game is completely different. Obviously, we can't handle any type of pressure. If we take the lead, we're at our most weakest during those periods. And if we're behind, we're at an even weaker position. Obviously, it doesn't help when you have the goalkeeper that regularly is weak in defending set pieces and saving shots outside the box. And to top all of this off, everything is compounded to become even worse because we have no attacking identity. After 3 years, we still don't know what our best attack is. We've added even more attacking players, and the issues just become more exasperating. We can't finish for anything. So it's like, no matter what good things we do, there's constantly 5 things that undermine whatever we do in any single game. And that's been the current state of this season. So for sure, every time there's a new Premier League season, for me personally, it's an opportunity to learn. And for sure, I've been humbled. From the things I was saying in January, really believing that, okay, we're definitely coming back right now. We're signing the right personnel. To build a team, it's a lot deeper than just signing quality individual players. You need to give these guys a structure. You need to have an existing spine already. There has to be a philosophy of play that guys are already understanding before new guys are getting brought into that. And it's kind of ironic because Brighton are the complete antithesis, and Brighton are actually showing the light and paving the way forward for, this is how you get a process processing. This is how you progress a process. Maybe it's no surprise that we've tried to sign their managers, their coaches, their staff, their players, and we're even loaning our best talents to them so these guys can develop. Part of me thinks to myself, imagine if a team like Brighton had a Todd Bowley, a booster package where these guys had unreal amounts of money to spend in the windows. Brighton as a football club would be absolutely clear. But they're literal proof in the Premier League that, you can't buy your way to these positions. You need to have a philosophy that you're building towards year in, year out. And until we create those base foundations where we've understood this is how we're playing, and we're going to continue this style of play, we're going to do nothing. Because here's the reality. This season's been an absolute waste. What do we take from this season and what do we carry to the previous season? From next season onwards, it's new rules again. New ways of playing, new philosophy, new coaching, new managers. We're back to square one. So we've learned absolutely nothing during this, transition period, which makes things even more frustrating, to be fair. So right now, if we want to have any hope for what we're doing, all I kind of want to see right now is Lampard at least using a consistent lineup with consistent ideas and consistent principles. We're going to need this regardless because after Brighton, we have the second leg against Real Madrid and that's make or break time. But most likely we're out already. And the funny thing is that the last time we actually picked up a result against Brighton was under Frank Lampard and we beat them 3-1 at the Amex Stadium. We were playing a 4-2-2-2 at the time. Decent goal threat, decent amount of goals scored. Brighton was still hard in that game. But it's kind of funny that we haven't beaten Brighton since Lampard was our manager. So could 4-2-2-2 be the way forward for the future? Could that be the moment of inspiration? Right now, I don't know, man. I don't even know what the inspiration is at this point in time. But regardless, in today's preview, I'm going to break down the press conference. I'm going to go through my predicted lineups. And I'll give my prediction right at the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Sorry for the very bleak and depressing start to the video. But my friends, right now, I need to be inspired. I need something to believe in. And I'm seeing none of that. So let's get into things. So we start with things. And for the first piece of information, of course, Koulibaly won't be part of the team tomorrow. He's currently out injured. So That was the given, to be fair. But we move on though, and Lampard did reveal that there is an urgency from a tactical perspective to get more men in the books. They've been working on this in training sessions recently, and it's been a massive glaring weakness now for years. I mean, when I look at most teams play, like an Arsenal or City, Bayern, Napoli, I don't see these teams with like 3, 2, sometimes even 4 men inside the books. They have a lot more options. And I kind of think when I look at the squad we currently have, we possess a ton of players that have made names for themselves making those late man runs inside the box. You're looking at Kai, Mount, Enzo, Gallagher. And it's kind of baffling that to this day, we still don't have any core set principles or ways of playing to really get the best out of our main strengths and qualities, which is really mad to me. But I guess it's no surprise, because the lesson I've learned this season is that you need to buy with a plan. You can't buy first and expect to make something from that, because you can kind of undermine everyone else. So at least it's a little bit reassuring to know the fact that, okay, we have been given something a bit more tangible to understand an area of improvement for this team. And obviously, you're not going to get any goals if there's no men inside the box attacking the spaces. To move on, Lampard was asked about our lack of identity, and he kept things very real. When he took over, he had one training session before Wolves, and then straight after that, you have like a handful of days before a massive game against Real Madrid. You're taking over a club and team that quickly. I think a lot of us weren't really expecting anything too crazy after that, to be fair with you. And Lampard admits that obviously it's not an ideal situation, but he is still excited for the challenge. That's what he's still here for. And he wants us to improve in the physicality. He wants us to step our lines up a bit more, to be a bit more aggressive. Obviously, when you take over a team that has bad form, because he didn't take over a team that had positive form at the time, players are going to be in their heads a bit more, and maybe certain things they would be doing naturally, they're not doing anymore now because they are lacking that confidence. So it is up to Frank Lampard to bring out that inner source in these players we have. And I guess one player that he does rate is Enzo Fernandez. They're like the key things on the press conference. Right now, I want to move on to the predicted lineup. And I have to say, right now, these lineups are getting harder and harder and harder. A lot of times, a lot of us could kind of guess them back in the day because you kind of already knew, okay, we're going to play this way. This is like the main spine of the team right now. These are the main guys and players. This is how we're playing. It's easier to kind of get some insight behind what to expect. But this season, completely different rules. And as I keep going back to, it's that attack. But one thing Lampard did say in his press conference is that for players that haven't played against Real Madrid or played last weekend, there is going to be an opportunity for these guys to get minutes. So I'm looking at players like Mudryk. I'm looking at players like Ruben, who hasn't played as much. Badia Shield as well too. So it's going to be interesting to see the options that we're turning to in the game tomorrow. But to start with the lineup, as you guys can see on the screen beside me, I can only see 4-3-3. I think against Madrid, we have to use the Brighton game in a way. It's like a bit of preparation in terms of how we're going to approach the game against Real Madrid, because we have to go into that game getting goals and scoring. That's what we have to do. And I think our best way of scoring is by actually having goal-scoring players in the team. In the team, I've gone for Mendy in goal. Defense, Ben, Badia, Fofana, and Reece James. In midfield, I've gone for Enzo, Kante, Mason Mount, and up front, Mudryk, Felix, and Raheem Sterling. I'm going to explain this lineup right here. Starting in goal first, and listen, I need to see Mendy gain another chance and another opportunity right now, because I'm going to say this. Listen, the guy's form was bad. He did fall off a bit. But seeing how KEPA came back and the patience that was had for him, I don't see why it has to be anything different for Mendy. And there's also one thing. Even when Mendy made silly mistakes from passes or like lack of concentration, or those crazy moments that no goalkeeper is actually immune to, at least you could rely upon him on these two things every single time. His box presence in defending set pieces and his ability to save long shots. Like, there's a reason why most teams don't really tend to take shots outside the box against Mendy, because the guy is like a basketball player in goal. And if you want to score against him from like 20, 25, 30 yards, you have to put in an unbelievably clean strike to have any opportunity to do so. And that's what KEPA just can't really do. And it's kind of mad that most of the goals we're conceding are from set piece opportunities or goals outside the box. So I think Mendy, his frame, his presence, he deserves another chance. I think defense is very self-explanatory. Nothing really to say there. Badia Shield, finally getting an opportunity. It's going to be good to see him playing out from the back as well too. And moving on to midfield, if there's one guy I need to see, it has to be Mason Mount. I can't see Mateo Kovacic anymore. I think obviously he's a good player in his own right, but Mateo has no box threat. He's not going to help you break teams down in the final third, and he's not going to score any goals. So I think, listen, if you're struggling to score goals, for God's sake, actually use goal-scoring players we have in midfield. And Mason Mount is one of these guys. He needs to reclaim himself back on the left-hand side in a midfield three. And I think for all those people who told themselves that Mount was the main issue or the city scapegoating and stuff like that, I think as you're starting to realise now with Joao Felix, when you're playing as that attacking guy in the team, you can't single-handedly solve our attack by yourself with your Mount or Felix. It's a team collective thing. And I think that both players can actually benefit playing off each other actually, which is the crazy thing, right? Like you can actually play them both together and it doesn't have to be a fight. I think Mount making those supportive runs as a box-to-box mid, facilitating the play as well too, giving us some great set-piece delivery, which we've been missing out on. Ben, Reece, so many others, we've been lacking set-piece threat in the past few games, and at least that was something we could turn towards as a goal-scoring threat. So Mount has to be back in that team. Ideally, I would love if Kante would be the guy sitting a bit deeper, because I think Enzo has the capabilities to offer us more quality in the final third if he has that license to go forward. So it brings up interesting questions about the need to sign a physical DM option behind to give someone like Enzo more freedom to push forward. And I think up front, I have to see this lineup. It comes down to having like core principles and ideas. And when Real Madrid beat us, it was very simple principles. Benzema, the deep line forward, dropping deeper, freeing up spaces for explosive wingers with goal-scoring threat in Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, who were able to constantly make those diagonal runs behind us. And that's how we lost the game on 2 occasions by those balls playing in behind our defense because of the runs made. Now, let me tell you this. Let's say that Real Madrid had a Joao Felix in their team and not Vinicius Jr. Could they play that way? Could they have found those solutions against us when we lost the first leg? Absolutely not, because then you're affecting how Benzema plays, because again, he doesn't have all the pace, so you need to have the pacey options alongside him, complement the attack and bring balance. This is what it means to have an identity. This is what it means to have like a chemistry you're building. And this is what you need to build if you want any of these guys to do anything. So I would not mind seeing Felix as a false 9 this time. He can do that role and he has to adapt, because I don't think maybe playing as a 10 or on the left is a thing for him anymore. We have those pacey, goal-scoring, wide wingers, Let's try and develop them. Let's use them a bit. Starting on the right-hand side of the goal threat at least, even though I think 1v1, the guy's been finished. And I was saying that before we signed him. But at least he has that goal threat movement behind. And I think Mudryk, very unlucky not to play against Real Madrid. I think it's bad that Madrid had 2 fullbacks and yellow cards, and we had no real outlets out wide to put any pressure or stress under them. I think that was quite disappointing. So I think Mudryk has to get some minutes now. And when there's nothing really left to play for me, this team has the best balance. I think you've got a very pacey, technical defense, good aerially. You've got a midfield that's combative, that has goal threat, that has passing range, that can counter press. And you have an attack that has skill, has the pacing behind and the movement. So I think that is what I want to see right now. And if I see guys like Kai coming on, I want Kai to be coming on in midfield. I don't want him coming on as a striker anymore. So that is my predicted lineup for the game tomorrow. Share your thoughts and opinions. So right now, I'm going to end things by giving my final match prediction. And my God, my friends, I kind of feel like these are the most pointless parts of these videos. I've been absolutely brutally honest, because I've not got any prediction right. I've been looking back on my predictions over the past few previews, feeling like an absolute fool. Don't know why I still have faith in these guys, and I kind of don't have anything right now. So listen, I'm always gonna hope to be surprised, but realistically, if you did anything against a Real Madrid team, ideally you have to get a result against Brighton. You have to bring something from the game tomorrow for the game against Madrid next Tuesday. So I mean, maybe I'll go for like a 1-1 draw just to see what's going to happen. But regardless, I just don't really feel that confident in anything right now. So share your thoughts and opinions. Let us know how you feel about this game. My friends, on that note, there's going to be another video coming out. Big news video. Don't miss out. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.